My colleague and I decided to change our name here, so I'll let him talk about that.
Yeah, so we changed our name from Golden Sports to Just in the Nick of Time Sports. We thought it was a clever play on our names here, and it works. We'll go JNT Sports for short, but it stands for Just in the Nick of Time Sports, hoping to bring you updates just in the nick of time.
No pun intended, but full pun intended
Oh,
at the same time. Yeah, we got to give credit to our boy Sharif if he's going to watch this video. He was the one that actually thought of it. Smart man. I don't think either Justin and I would have thought of that name, and it flows well, so we might as well change it up because supposedly we'd have had some competition if we left our old name against some British channels. So we know the Brits know a lot about their sports, so it'd be a tough uphill climb, we think. So
I'm gonna just throw an asterisk out there. He's a smart man, but he's a Bengals fan, so it only goes that far.
yeah, Sharif, we're not giving you credit where credit's due for the Bengals. I'm just going to happily say they suck. Sorry. All right, on this episode, we're not going to keep it as long as the last one. We know we probably went overboard last time, but there was definitely quite a bit that we had to talk about, especially for our first channel. And we're also learning the kinks here. So one thing, if people do comment, we want you to let us know if you like this view better. We're not going to be showing the screen as much, rather ourselves, and if we want to share something, we'll do that quickly, but we figure see us more rather than what's on our screen and what we're talking about. So the first thing Justin and I thought we were going to talk about today is fantasy, because we know a lot of you guys have probably done your drafts already and maybe have an upcoming draft, so we just want to talk about some sleeper picks here. Later in the episode, we are going to talk about our week one predictions, and then Justin and I don't condone gambling, but we love to do it, so we are going to give our picks here for anytime touchdown scores, we think, because that's what we tend to do, and we tend to do well. So hopefully, like I said, we don't condone gambling. If you're going to do it, gamble responsibly, but hopefully we can make you a little bit of money here. So, all right, Justin, what's some sleeper picks you have for fantasy this year, and did you like your draft?
Well, we'll go into sleeper picks after. I was gonna say, because we are both in the same fantasy football league, I think we could talk about how our draft process went and everything. And I'm very happy with my draft, considering I was eighth overall pick and I somehow landed CeeDee Lamb with
Yeah.
my first overall pick. I don't know why he dropped to eight, other than the contract situation. But again, like, if worst case scenario he misses the first week, I have a replacement for him anyways, ready to go. But to let CeeDee Lamb fall to eight, I was surprised.
Yeah.
The rest of the draft, I think, went very well. I think everybody in our league kind of knew what they were doing in terms of like who they're picking. Everybody seemed to have a strategy, seemed to have these players that everybody wanted. And even my sleeper pick got picked up before I thought he was going to. Mr. Zamir White there got picked up. I was shocked that he got picked up as early as he did. But again, I think he's going to be a stud this year. So, yeah, he's one of my sleeper picks, but we'll get into that later. I was happy with how the draft process went itself. My team is looking good. I'm disappointed I couldn't get LJ, but other than that, I have no complaints with my team. I think we'll do well. I'm coming for the back-to-back championship this year.
Yeah, I'm happy with my team. Probably more happy with my work team, actually. I think I drafted smarter in that choice. One thing that threw me off, and I know I was the one that kind of condoned it because of how late our draft was. Don't know why, lads. Our commissioner, shout out Matt, made the draft at 10:15 p.m., but he did. What threw me off was the 30-second pick time. So if I got any recommendations for you guys, maybe do a minute pick time. That's something I'd like to change hopefully next year again, because 30 seconds, you do feel pressured into making your picks here. And I don't know if I rushed some things. I like the fact that I got Josh Allen as my quarterback, because that guy just puts up numbers as a fantasy QB. But there's some other picks I wish I could change. I don't know. I think James Conner might be a sneaky pick. He always performs, but I don't know if I really want him as my RB2. I wish I got someone better than him. I've been kind of thinking about that all weekend. My sleeper pick, if he comes back, and I don't know if I'd necessarily call this a sleeper, is our boy Nick Chubb. I'm kind of happy I got him in round 10, but once again, that's a big if he comes back. Rumor is that he'll be back week 5, supposedly. He's progressing very well, but with the injuries he sustained last year, who knows what he's going to be like when he gets back, right? And they also do have Jerome Ford, who's going to be fantastic. So when I was at the Beer Olympics yesterday with our friends, Colin kept talking about that he thinks CMC is supposedly injured for this whole year. Have you heard anything about that? Supposedly this calf injury is actually worse than people are expecting.
I've heard he's had a lingering calf injury, which is why he hasn't played anything in the preseason. We've barely seen any news or anything from him from like off-season, preseason. And I think what's helping in the fact that we haven't seen anything about it is all the Brandon Ayuk and Trent Williams contract negotiations and talks. I feel like that kind of has swept the CMC injury under the rug. That being said, I don't think he's going to be out for the year, but I think that San Fran is going to play it safe for the first little bit, maybe reduce snaps and stuff. But I don't see him being injured for a long period of time. That being said, if he does have an ongoing injury and he tweaks it or something in the early weeks of the season, I can see San Fran maybe shutting him down for like 3 or so weeks just to get him prepared for the dog days of the season.
Yeah.
Because they need him. They know they need him, but they also have a good enough team to get them in a position where they know that they'll make the playoffs without using CMC to like his full extent that he needs. I think they'll give him some rest if he tweaks his ankle, but we just have to wait for more news. We still have what? Like
2 weeks.
It's about 2 weeks till the first kick of the season for them.
And they're the Monday nighter too, so
an extra day too. So I think we'll get some news in the upcoming week about him. There's some news that we're waiting for around the league in general. It's hard to say right now, but there's a bunch of contract stuff, bunch of potential injuries. We'll see how it goes for the next 7-ish days, and then you and I are off to Kansas City in like 10 days.
Damn right. Looking forward to that. That should be a good time. Yeah, I don't know if he'll be injured, but Colin was adamant when he kept bringing that up yesterday, so it really got me thinking that maybe he's read some stuff that I haven't, and if CMC's gone, I feel bad for all the people that took this guy first pick overall, because that's a massive loss for your team.
Huge loss.
Massive loss. So, all right, I guess we can lead into this. Favorite pick you made in the draft?
My favorite, let me just go over my team again real quick. But, can I say CeeDee Lamb at pick number 8? Like,
no, let's be different here. Like a later pick you made, like maybe round 3, 4-ish. So
3 or 4. Okay, let me just check out my team again real quick. I think one of my favorite picks might be Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
Packers. I think he was kind of like, I don't even know why I would say overlooked. Well, he was kind of a bit overlooked. He had like 1,200 yards last year. He's a fantastic running back. The Green Bay offense is just fluent. Oh, speaking of that, another sleeper pick that I really like for myself. He's on my bench right now. It's Jaden Reed, the wide receiver for Green Bay.
Yeah.
If Christian Watson, God forbid, gets injured or something and has to sit out for a little bit, Jaden Reed is the number one option on that team. Romeo Doubs, as good as he is, he's not as young, not as fresh as Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed's coming into his second year here. I think I'm expecting big things. I'm looking to potential trade piece him or even work him in as my wide receiver 3/flex spot.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes because my flex spot's a little iffy right now, but I have players on my bench that I think could fit in perfectly. So my 2 Green Bay picks, honestly, would be my happy with picks.
Yeah, so for me in my work league, my favorite pick was in round 4, actually. I don't know how I got him, but I had Sam Laporta fall to me. I'm very excited to have him as a tight end. I've been blessed pretty much every year with my tight end picks, either getting Mark Andrews or George Kittle, and they pop off that year. But I think Sam Laporta was a huge pick for me. That guy's a dominant part of the Detroit Lions offense. Yes, they have to divvy the ball up to everybody. They got Jameson Williams. They got the sun god himself, Amon-Ra, who's obviously going to get touches all game long. They got David Montgomery that they're going to feed at the line. They got Jahmyr Gibbs as well. But I think he's probably their most reliable target within 10 yards or less in the red zone. So I think that was a great pick for me. Very happy that he's on my team this year. And in our league, and I think I told you about this before the draft while we were playing some video games, I was taking Cooper Kupp in round 4. I think he's so undervalued this year because of Puka Nakua's emergence last year. So I'm pretty happy I got Kupp back on my team because 2 years ago, I made a trade for Kupp in week 2. I can't remember who I gave up, but shout out Adrian for giving me Cooper Kupp. And that was his MVP season where he hit the Triple Crown. That ended up winning me second place in the league that year. So I was pretty happy. I'm hoping Kupp can emerge like that this year. Next question for you. Any picks you're worried about on your team? Because I got 2.
Right now, the only pick that I can really say, again, my CeeDee Lamb worries me for week 1 possibly. That's about my extent of my worriness for him though. The pick that worries me on my team is, again, it's my flex spot. Right now I have Javonte Williams in there.
Yeah.
He worries me because he doesn't produce as often, but what I drafted him for is for the first couple weeks there while Denver's quarterback situation really gets figured out. I know that they have a bit of a battle between these guys. I don't know if they've named anybody yet.
Bo Nix is their starter.
Okay, so either way, it's a rookie quarterback.
Yep.
As much as you want to see him sling the ball, you still do want to try and win games. So you're going to put the ball in the hands of your running back for the first little bit there as much as you possibly can. So that's why I picked him for my flex at the moment. He worries me a bit, but if he really starts to have 4 weeks and stuff, I have DK Metcalf on my bench ready to stuff in my flex.
Yeah. So for me, I got 2, like I said. First is my 3rd overall pick, because I was the 3rd pick and I already drafted this year, is Bijan Robinson. Drafted him last year because of all the hype at, I think I was 7 or 8, I can't remember. Was so excited to get Bijan. I remember week 1, he got 20 points. Week 2, he popped off for 30 points, so I was like, oh, this is going to be a great pick. But then Arthur Smith just screwed him around, and he never got the ball. They gave it to him all throughout the field until they got into the red zone, and he never got any touches. So I was actually reading some stats about that. Did you know last year, within the 5-yard line, he was given the ball twice?
The whole year?
Yes. Swear to God. He was given the ball twice within the 5-yard line.
That's crazy.
Yep, they were handing it off to Tyler Algier instead. They used him all game to get the yards, so on and so forth. But when it came time to get the touchdown, they gave it to Tyler Algier. So that's what worries me. I hope that doesn't happen this year. Thankfully, they got a new coach, Raheem Morris. He's supposed to be pretty good. I hope Bijan gets some touches, because if he does, then that's going to be a sneaky pick, because obviously he's a receiving back and he's just nifty. Everybody saw what he did at Texas back in college. Hopefully he can replicate that in the NFL. Second one.
Explosive.
Go ahead.
He's so explosive, man. He is so cool to watch. He's literally a video game player. You put that ball in his hands, God, the ankles just, Jesus Christ. He is so good. I think he's fantastic.
I know, but honestly, as I said, I wasn't going to take him. I was full-doubtedly going to draft Tyreek Hill at 3, because I had Tyreek on my team 3-4 years ago, and that was a great pick too. That's when he was back on the Chiefs. But Mitch took him before me because he's never had Tyreek before, so he wanted to have him on this team this year. So I got stuck with Bijan. But the one I'm even more worried about is I am that meme. I fell for Kyle Pitts again. So this is my 2nd time drafting Kyle Pitts in 3 years because I left the tight ends a little bit late. So I don't know what's going to happen there. Do you think that's a good pick for me or a bust?
See, the thing is, the easy thing is to say he's going to be a bust this year just because, what he's done the past couple years. But, this year he has Kirk Cousins in as his quarterback. Kirk Cousins, before injuries, loved T.J. Hawkinson. Those two were cooking on all cylinders there. Both of them ended up getting injured. So a nice tight end blanket, and he's a good route running tight end. He can catch well. He's basically a wide receiver out there, just in a bigger frame. It's just the production that we need to see from him. You just need to see, or even chances. You need to give him chances. So hopefully this year, it's the, oh, you guys fell for the not drafting Kyle Pitts. Look at you now, kind of fools.
Yeah.
So hopefully it goes well for you. But at the same time, it's what is this now? His 4th year in the league? Third. First 2 years, similar to Bijan Robinson, he came in and thinking, oh, he's going to be this offensive superstar, this weapon and stuff. And I swear he had 1 touchdown.
Yeah, it was bad. I ended up putting on my bench, and I can't remember who I picked up off waivers to fill in because I fell for all that hype out of Florida when he got drafted because his combine numbers were absurd, his NCAA numbers were absurd. So I fell for all that hype, thought it was going to be a great pick, and it just turned out to be a bust. Last year, didn't take him. This year, unfortunately, I was forced to take him because all the good tight ends were taken. So I'm like, well, I am that mean. I'm going to have to take Kyle Pitts and see where we go from here. So
I hope it works out for you, man. I hope he finally has a good season because I don't know. He has like no real excuse. He's got the quarterback. He's got the good offense. Like he has offensive weapons. So like the defense isn't solely focused on him. So it's just up to him to produce at this point. So we'll see.
I agree. All right. So what's some sleeper picks that we can maybe give our viewers some insight if they haven't been drafted already that we think they might pop off at some point in the season that we can pick them up off waivers?
Well, the good strategy is to always look at potential backup running backs. Running backs are a super injury-prone position in the league. So if you could go through your waiver wires and see if there's any backup running backs that may interest you, I would definitely recommend picking them up. I'm just looking at our waiver wire right now. My top pick would possibly be Adam Thielen for Carolina Panthers. I'm just looking now. He's been rostered on 50% of rosters, so in 50% of leagues, he's out there on the waiver wire. I had him last year, and surprisingly, he did quite well. He was consistently at like 15 to 20 points for a good stretch there, and he also had a stretch of 2 or 3 weeks in a row where he was at 23 points ish. He was a solid wide receiver one option for Bryce Young last year. They brought in Xavier Legette.
Yeah, the Southern boy with that very strong accent. Yeah,
got good accent. They brought him in to be the new wide receiver one on Carolina, but I don't mind Adam Thielen there as kind of like a veteran presence. He's going to be there to run routes for Bryce Young, maybe just target. He's a good target guy. Probably good for about 13, 14 points a week kind of guy. I would pick him up if you're looking for like a wide receiver 4 or 5 kind of thing. When your wide receivers are on a bye week, maybe slot him in as a flex. We'll see how it goes for the first little bit there.
Yep.
That would be my kind of sneaky pick at this point off the waiver wires. I'm just going to keep scrolling.
So are you going to fall for the Carson Steele hype, if you know what I'm talking about?
The backup running back for your Chiefs?
Yeah, fullback, running back duo, undrafted out of UCLA. The guy was just putting up numbers, and I say that in quotes, in the preseason, but he's a hard runner. Like I remember sending you that tweet saying we got our Pacheco number 2, and you said he hates the ground. They both hate the ground. Are you falling for it? Do you think he's going to be a good little pickup maybe?
I think so. It's just the issue with that is like you're almost praying for an injury for your RB1 if you draft like a rookie RB2. So he will get touches. Don't get me wrong when Pacheco needs a break and stuff, and those are his like moments to shine kind of thing. But I think he'd be good for probably 7 to 12 points. 12 points on a good week, 7 on like a bang average week. He may break for 30, 40 yards on a couple runs and maybe get a touchdown every like 3 weeks or so if he's lucky. Yeah. But I think majority of your runs are going to go to Isaiah Pacheco.
Yeah, I agree with that. But the Chiefs running back room, you still have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who's dealing with mental health issues right now. Probably going to come back. He's been at training camp, so if that's the case, you know damn well he's still going to be RB2 unless Carson Steele pops off. And another one that's been popping off in training camp that people are saying he might get RB2 spot is this guy named Deneric Prince. Pretty damn good from what I've seen. Didn't really watch him too much in the preseason, and I can't believe I actually watched the preseason this year. I would say Carson Steele might actually be a sneaky pick. I think there'll be times where maybe Pop can't get the ball into the end zone, so they're just going to give it to him because he likes to batter players. He's a heavy runner. He reminds me of Derrick Henry. It's going to take a lot to get him down and just get it into the end zone. I would say he's like 240, And he's a very muscular dude. Like, if you just watch that clip, he stiff-armed three guys in that 31-yard run. Should have been a touchdown there, but I guess his knee was down, then he ran it in the next play after. I think he might get 4 or 5 touchdowns this year. I was reading some Yahoo fantasy discussions about him because, honestly, I was thinking of picking him up in our – actually, I did pick him up today in our league, and I put him on our bench. A lot of people are thinking that he might get 5-6 touchdowns this year. They think the Chiefs might use him just as a power back to get into the end zone, give Pop a break.
We'll see.
Another one that I think might be a sneaky pick, I don't know if you know too much about him. I watched quite a bit of him at Texas, Bucky Irving, backup running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A lot of people are projecting Rachaad White to fall off this year because supposedly he has some lingering injuries that are in the background that people might think hinder his performance. So a lot of people think Bucky Irving might pop off. Do you know anything about him? Or
I don't, but that's a good point. Honestly, I haven't even heard anything about oh my God, you just said his name.
Rachaad White.
Thank you. I was going to say Zamir White again. I haven't heard anything about Rachaad White this year, and maybe it's because you're right. I think people are kind of predicting that maybe he does fall off a bit. And I didn't know who their backup running back was going to be. So having that name in my back pocket might be a good waiver wire addition. Maybe week 2, week 3, when they've tried Rachaad White a couple times and maybe he does regress a bit. And why not give the rookie a chance kind of thing in that situation where you don't have an Isaiah Pacheco where you know he's RB1. Zamir White is RB1 at the moment. But if people are thinking he might regress, there's probably reason behind it. If he does have lingering injuries, again, why not let the rookie start? It's not like Tampa Bay is a Super Bowl contender or anything. Why not try and develop these young players to next 2-3 years have yourself a solidified RB1? Could be a good pickup week 2 or 3 off the waiver wire.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so let's do something fun here. What quarterback do you think is going to kind of break out this year fantasy point-wise? Besides the big four. Because I know we got Lamar Jackson's going to get you points. Pat Mahomes should get you points, not rushing points, but he's going to throw some touchdowns, get you points there. Josh Allen will get you rushing TDs and passing TDs. And there's one other one. I'm having a big brain fart here. Who is it? Yeah, that's it. Jalen Hurts. That guy gets numbers because of all the rushing TDs.
Yeah.
So if you were to pick another quarterback that's like, you know what, you drafted this guy, you can be confident that he's going to get you points. Who do you think that's going to be?
Well, I want to say Kyler Murray. I drafted him as my quarterback. I think he kind of went under the radar this year because of his injury last year. But you mentioned it to me a couple days ago after I drafted him. He has weapons now. Like, he has Marvin Harrison, and he's got Trey McBride, and he himself, can scramble. He can run. So fantasy-wise, I think he's going to be a good pickup. I think his rushing abilities, his escaping abilities, he likes to scramble in the, I'll say 10 yards and in kind of for red zone. He likes to scramble, tries to get outside, tries to get those rushing touchdowns. But I think the addition of his offensive weapons, and especially Harrison Jr., who, because of that deal or not deal that he signed, haven't heard an insane amount from him in preseason and whatnot. But I think it's in the name. I think he's going to be a stud, and I think it's going to be such a weapon for Kyler to have that. I think Kyler's going to consistently put up numbers on a not great Arizona Cardinals team where they will rely on him, similar to Josh Allen's situation where they're going to rely on him a lot. I think Kyler, his legs are going to come into play quite a bit, and I think he just kind of went under the radar there a little bit. But, yeah, it'd be Kyler Murray.
I'd agree with you 100%. You knew damn well I wanted to draft Kyler Murray. I did not think I was getting Josh Allen at my pick. I had no intention of drafting Josh Allen, mainly because I'm a Chiefs fan. I do have the utmost respect for Josh Allen. I think he's a great quarterback. And like we talked about last week on our podcast, you and I actually think he's going to win MVP this year. But I don't really pick him because normally people pick him in our draft pretty damn early. So the fact that he came to me, I was like, I got to take him. But if I didn't get him, I was looking at taking Kyler Murray too. The other one I could see getting putting up some numbers if the stuff out of training camp isn't true is Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
I really do think Anthony Richardson will get numbers because I remember my buddy last year in my work league had him for the first 4 weeks of the season before he got injured. And like we were talking about it on the phone a couple days ago, I think Anthony Richardson got like 2-3 rushing TDs a game last year before he got injured. So that's numbers right there.
Snapping at the beginning of last season, he was absolutely snapping.
Yeah, and all these Bengals players are talking about, oh, is that all he does, run? Well, you know what? Fantasy-wise, you might want that. If this guy's getting rushing TDs for you, oh well, you're still getting points. I don't know how everybody else's league is scored. I know ours, a rushing TD is 6 points and a passing TD is 4 points. So in that case, you kind of want Anthony Richardson to just run all the time. So,
And he's got a cannon too. So if he does connect on that deep ball, that's quite a bit of yards.
Yep. Any wide receivers you're going to think that are going to break out, kind of like a Puka Nacua, came out of nowhere last year and just put up numbers.
Wide receiver that I think is going to, I don't want to say break out, but again, it's a wide receiver that's kind of like under the radar here because he's probably looked at as wide receiver 3 on his team, but I don't think he's going to be wide receiver 3. I think he's more of wide receiver 2, even close to some games, maybe 1, is Tank Dell on the Houston Texans. I think because they brought in Stephon Diggs, I think Nico Collins is wide receiver 1. He's my wide receiver 1 on that team. But I think Tank Dell is, okay, he's probably wide receiver 2. I don't want to say 1A because I don't think he's as close to Nico Collins as I think.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to be closer to wide receiver 2 than Stephon Diggs is going to be wide receiver 2 on the Houston Texans. I just think that Stephon Diggs, as good as he is, was brought in as, I don't want to say a distraction piece, but you know what I mean, where they have 3 good wide receivers on, but the name Stephon Diggs is going to draw more
attention
because it's Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
So I think Tank Dell, if you picked him up, he probably is on the bench for the first week or so, but you'll see the number projections and his numbers just go up week to week because I think by week 6 or so, he's going to be like solidified Houston Texans wide receiver 2. And I think that's going to be a very heavy pass offense. And I think he's going to get you I think he's going to turn into the T. Higgins of Houston Texans, if you know what I mean, where they obviously have wide receiver 1, Nico Collins, but Tank Dell has the potential to be a wide receiver 1 on a lot of teams. But because of how stacked their wide receiver room is, he kind of falls under the radar here. But it'd be Tank Dell for me.
All I got to say, buddy, is good segue, partner. That's why we're doing this. That's my sleeper pick for wide receiver this year. I think T. Higgins is going to pop off this year. He wants that money. He wants that payday. He wants to be wide receiver 1. He's not going to be it on the Bengals because they got Jamar Chase, but I think he's putting up numbers this year. So that's why we're doing this. We feed off each other, homie. And that was a great segue. That's my sleeper pick right there is T. Higgins. Give me T. Higgins to put up some numbers. I really think he's going to do it. That guy's a fantastic wide receiver. Get T paid. And honestly, hopefully it's not on the Bengals. Their wide receiver core is good enough. Let him go somewhere else and put up some numbers and be the number 1 wide receiver here. Another one I have, not wide receiver, but he's kind of built like one, Brock Bowers, Raiders draft pick out of Georgia. I picked him up as my backup tight end. I believe it was in my work league. Maybe it was in our league. I know I got him on one of my teams. I think he's going to put up numbers too, not right away. I think it's going to be more like a Sam Laporta situation. I think Sam Laporta took until like week 3, so still very early in the season that he started getting recognized, and everybody was like, okay, this guy's a stud. Like, he's getting numbers. I think Brock Bowers, my apologies, I was thinking of Austin Powers for some reason. I think Brock Bowers is going to put up numbers too, because think about it, their quarterback room's kind of weak. Gardner Minshew, he's a good quarterback, but he's not elite. Aiden O'Connell, he's a good quarterback, but he's not elite as well. So what do those type of quarterbacks do? They take the safe route. They can dunk passes to the tight ends. The big boys are going to get the numbers, get the touchdowns for you, rather than attempting the deep ball. But we can't forget about Devontae Adams being on that team. And everybody's seen him receiver. He was pissed last year. I think he's going to pop off this year too, because he wants to show the world that, hey, I'm still like top 3 wide receiver in the NFL. Feed me the ball and let me score.
That's my wide receiver 2 in fantasy.
That's a great pick. That's a great pick. I wish I had Devontae. I was so happy to have him last year, but of course Jimmy Garoppolo just came in and just ruined the whole thing. And then it was just a quarterback fiasco. So I didn't get to experience Devontae Adams last year like most people get to experience Devontae Adams getting points. So I hope he works out for you. But I think honestly, with Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell throwing the ball, Minshew's already been named the starter. We talked about that last week. I think Brock Bowers is going to get a lot of touches because that guy's a special breed of tight end.
Yeah, he was going to be tight end. He was going to be like a top 10 pick like 2 years ago in the draft too. So he's just, he's good.
Yeah, and I think he's going to get. I think he's going to get numbers. So we'll end off the fantasy talk here. If there's anything you guys want us to talk about, because we're going to get into week one predictions and betting here. But if there's anything you want us to bring up on a week-to-week basis, just to keep you guys updated in fantasy, leave a comment about that. We'd be happy to discuss. So let's kick it off. Week one predictions. We'll do the games quickly and who we think's going to win and why. So obviously we're going to start off with the one that we're going to. In Arrowhead, the first game of the season, Ravens and Chiefs. Who do you think wins and why?
I don't know. I actually don't know. I think that's going to be a fantastic game. I think the Ravens are going to steal it, to be honest with you. I think they have a certain fire in their bellies after the AFC Championship game. And I think that as good as the Chiefs are, they kind of, I don't want to say start off slow, but based off like last year's game against the Lions, they kind of threw that one away. And I don't know. I think the Ravens with their offensive addition like Derrick Henry and stuff, we haven't seen anything of him in the preseason, but I think we're doing that on purpose kind of thing.
Yeah,
also, like we're going to scare him a bit. We haven't seen him and Lamar on the field at the same time other than in practices. And I don't think people realize how deadly of a duo that actually could be. Because
no, I agree.
You hand that ball off to Derrick Henry, it's Derrick Henry. And like he's been the leader of rushing for the past 5 years or so, total yards. It's Derrick Henry by a good chunk.
Yep.
And if Lamar Jackson decides to keep the ball and run, like he's going to break for, it's Lamar Jackson. If he has open field in front of him, he's gone. It's our wide receivers that worry me. Again, I feel like I say this every single year about being a Ravens fan. There's no wide receiver depth on our team like ever.
Yeah.
Wide receiver one is Zay Flowers. I think he's going to have a good year, but he's probably like a bottom. I don't think he's a top 15 wide receiver one in the league, if you know what I mean. Like every team's wide receiver one. I don't think he cracks top 15 as much as I like him, but we'll see. I think our defense people are underrating our defense this year, which doesn't make sense to me. We did lose Mike McDonald, but I think our defense is still solid. So I think the Ravens do end up taking this one. It's going to be a close game. I can't see any team winning by more than a touchdown, and I feel like a touchdown stretches it a bit. It's going to be like a 3 to 5 point victory. That's what I'm predicting, and I think the Ravens will take it.
Not bad. So I'm going to go probably Chiefs. I agree with everything you said. We did start off slow last year. I mean, in the NHL, there's Stanley Cup hangovers. Could be a Super Bowl hangover in game 1, 2. There was last year against the Lions, but the Lions did come out strong and play very well. I think the Chiefs will win this one. Much like you said, 3 to 5 point game. All I'm really hoping for, and I know I said this last week, is all gas, no breaks, just offense. Defense is great to watch later in the season. But I mean, if we're driving 16 hours from where we are in Canada up to Kansas City, I hope it's just points galore. No defense can make a stop, and both QBs are balling. Especially, and I hate to say this, but Lamar is my quarterback in my work league. So if he gets a few points, I might be a little bit happy about that. But I want my Chiefs to win. Our defense is fully back and healthy. Andy Reid announced that earlier this week that everybody on the defense will be available for Week 1. Where I can see the Chiefs losing, though, we don't have Hollywood Brown playing. He's not expected to come back Week 2. And like you said about your wide receivers, I'm saying the same thing. Yeah, we picked up Worthy. Yeah, we picked up Hollywood Brown. We still have Rashee Rice, but Worthy's a rookie. Obviously, he's not going to make an impact right away. If he does, great. But there's going to be some first NFL game nerves there. Rashee Rice, we can expect him to do his thing. Hopefully, Kelsey does his thing. He is getting a little bit older, but he's still a stud. but that worries me too. And I think losing Hollywood Brown, who probably was going to be our WR1, I think he probably had that over Rashi Rice, even though Rice is fantastic. He's not there. So I think that opens things up a bit for the Ravens to take advantage of, because I don't know who's subbing in. Maybe Justin Watson, Nico Remigio. Like, I really don't know who's going to be playing in place for brain fart again, Marquise Brown that game. So I got Chiefs just because I'm a homer, and I hope to see them win at home, winning by like 3 to 5 points too. All right, next one. First ever game in Brazil. And it's a Friday game, 8:15 p.m., Packers and Eagles. Who do you got?
I like the Packers a lot, and I'm not a big fan of the Eagles. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I have to see Jalen Hurts without this superstar offensive line that he's had for like the past 2-3 years. So I'm going Green Bay. I think they check all the boxes. I think their defense is stellar. I think their offense is stellar. I think their quarterback, Jordan Love, is a fantastic quarterback. And I think he has potential to be in the I think he has potential to be in the top 5 MVP candidate towards the end of the year. I think he's going to ball out.
Yep.
I'm going to go with Green Bay for this one. And I think Green Bay is going to win by, I don't even know. I'll go a touchdown or more, to be honest with you. Yep. I think, and I'll even sprinkle another thing in there. I think Jalen Hurts is going to have 2 picks that game.
Okay.
I think Jair Alexander is going to get an interception himself. And let's go for a touchdown scorer in that game just because it's a solo game. I will go with Saquon Barkley. As even though I said the Eagles are going to lose, I'm going to go with Saquon Barkley to have his welcome to the Eagles moment and score a touchdown.
And that's why I think the Eagles are going to win. Once again, great segue. I got Eagles winning against the Packers. Packers are a great team. I agree with you. Jordan Love will be top 5 quarterback by the end of the season, probably an MVP conversation. But I think this is going to be a big game for Saquon because obviously the Giants, he was great on the Giants. He wanted to leave. They didn't really do too much last year, so I think this is a redeem year for him where he puts up a ton of numbers. I'd agree with you there, partner. Give me Saquon anytime, TD too. And I got the Eagles winning. It's going to be close, though, like a 1-score game. All right, now, officially, when the best day of the year, Sunday. So everybody's going to have their red zone on, a few beers, maybe some good food, listening to Scott Hansen with those beautiful words that he says, 8 hours of commercial-free football when it starts at 1. So we have Panthers and Saints. I'm going to keep this simple. No reason, but I'm just saying Saints. I don't think the Panthers win that game.
I'm also going to go Saints. I think that I don't want to say underrated because I also don't think they're going to do well this year. Mm-hmm. But I think that their defense is still good. I think they're going to run the ball a lot. I think Kamara, anytime touchdown, Alvin Kamara right there. I think that's my anytime touchdown for that, and I'll agree with you. I think the Saints are winning. I don't need much of an explanation. But to be fair, that might be the game that I don't watch much of.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I'll just have that on red zone. I'd agree with probably Kamara getting a touchdown there too. We'll give a parlay at the end because that's normally what we do. Next one after that, Vikings and Giants. Giants are going to be garbage this year, so give me the Vikings, even though I don't think they're going to be that good. Anytime TD for me would probably be Justin Jefferson, maybe what's his name, Aaron Jones. I think he's going to have a revenge year too because the Packers obviously took Jacobs and kind of just forgot about him. So I could see Jones getting a touchdown. I got Vikings, even though they're not going to be the best, probably winning by 2 scores because the Giants just aren't a good team this year.
Yeah, again, I agree. I'm going to go Vikings. I don't like the Giants at all. I think the Vikings have Justin Jefferson. He can make plays. I don't think the Giants have a playmaker. Like, I want to say Malik Neighbors does well, but again, I have yet to see, and it's hard to watch that when you have a quarterback who can't make plays himself kind of thing. Like, I don't know. I think the Giants are in for a rough year again this year. I'm going to go Vikings. I'll agree with you there.
All right, another somewhat easy one to predict, I think. I was going to say they matched up in the preseason, but they didn't. Patriots, Bengals. I mean, the Bengals are a good team. The Patriots will eventually be a good team, but obviously this year is not their year. They got 2 rookie quarterbacks. I got the Bengals winning that one. It's going to be pretty easy, is my guess. If I were to choose an anytime TD score for that game, from the Patriots, I'd say Ramondre Stevenson. I think he's going to get a lot of touches this year just because of the rookie quarterbacks. From the Bengals, I would normally say Joe Mixon. He's a pretty safe bet. You know what? Give me T. Higgins.
I like T. Higgins. Joe Mixon's on the Texans now. So I don't know who their actual running is. No, it can't be.
I think it's Chase Brown, the Canadian.
Yeah, I think it's Chase Brown too, actually. Honestly, I'm gonna go for a sneaky pick here for anytime touchdown score. Give me Joe Burrow. He wants to do a little 3-yard run into the end zone. Show no, I'm all right. I'm good to go. Maybe take a little bump when he's going in, but I think he's gonna get an anytime touchdown. So give me Joe Burrow for.
I like that.
Also, Bengals winning.
I like that. All right, Steelers and Falcons. Steelers have looked pretty rough so far in the preseason. They'll figure it out eventually. They always do. I got Falcons winning that one, and just for my own selfish needs because he's on fantasy, give me Bijan to score a touchdown.
I like the Falcons as well. I think that the Steelers really need to solidify their quarterback position before anything happens. They do have a fantastic defense, like always. I think Young Hoku is going to kick a game-winning field goal. I think that's how that game is going to end. My anytime touchdown scorer, I like Bijan. I also like Drake London. I like them both.
Drake London, I love that guy.
I'll go with Drake London. I'll go with Drake London.
All right, I appreciate that. Next, we got Texans and Colts. This should actually be a pretty damn good game, in my opinion. I got Texans winning that one. If I were to do a same-game parlay for this game, I would do a parlay with Jonathan Taylor anytime touchdown score, and I'd also do Nico Collins to score a touchdown.
I like that a lot. I'll even go one further. I think the Colts might steal a win here. I think a complete opposite end of the spectrum here. I think everybody's super high up on the Texans, including myself.
Yeah.
And not many people are talking about the Colts. And because it's week 1, the Colts are going to have that, okay, let's come out and make a statement kind of game.
Yeah.
Division rival. I think the Colts are going to come out and, I don't want to say slaughter. I think they're going to win by like 5 points. But like, my anytime touchdown score is going to be Anthony Richardson. I think
that's a good one.
I think he's going to get like 2 rushing tuds, maybe a passing tud, and just Jonathan Taylor's going to create some offense on the ground and stuff. But I think that Anthony Richardson is going to score a couple.
I like that. Okay, Cardinals and Bills in Buffalo. I think this is going to be a sneaky good game, too. Cardinals show they can hang with the teams last year, even though they're not that good. They still put out numbers. I still got the Bills winning this one. It's hard for an away team to go into Buffalo and win. Their fans there are ruckus. I mean, we've experienced it firsthand because we've been to some Bills games ourselves. They love the Bills. I got this being closer than expected. I got a 1-score game, Bills winning. If I were to choose an anytime TD score for that game, it'd either be James Cook from the Bills or I would say Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I like that a lot too. I do think the Bills are going to win. I think it's going to be more than 1 score. I think it's going to be like closer to 9-10 points. I think the Bills are going to win though. Like you said, it's hard for an away team to come into Buffalo. Those guys are something else. They're passionate. They're good people, but they love their freaking Bills.
They do.
My anytime touchdown score for that game is going to be James Conner. I think that they're going to get to the end zone, and he's a fantastic back for punching that in. I think James Conner is going to get one, so I'll stick with him as my anytime for that game. But for Bill's side, I'm going to go Josh Allen.
I like that. All right, Titans and Bears. This one could go either way. I think a lot of the world's going to say, give me the Bears to win. That is at home for Chicago. But you know what? I'm going to say Titans pull off a W. They really don't have much to play for this year. No one really expects them that well. I think Will Levis will have a pretty good game. Anytime touchdown scores for that game, I could say most people would probably say Tony Pollard. Give me Tyjae Spears from the Titans to score. And from the Bears, DeAndre Swift.
Swifty. I like the Bears to win that game. I think Caleb Williams is going to make a statement game. I think it's going to be a close game. I don't think he's going to blow out anybody out of the water. This is the NFL. Like this is it. There's not going to be blown out of the water games. It's not college.
Yep.
I think the Bears are going to take it. I think my anytime touchdown scorer is going to be Rome Odunze.
Nice. I like that. Shout out Rome. Next one, Battle of Florida here. We got Jaguars versus Dolphins in Miami. Give me Miami to win. They always start off the year pretty damn hot until they play the Bills. And then it's a different story. I think Tua will have a great game again, just putting up numbers. Anytime TD scores for that game, for me, I would choose ETN from the Jaguars. I think he's going to have a great year. And I mean, this is kind of easy to say, but probably Tyreek to score a touchdown. So
Yeah, I'm going to agree on everything there. I think Miami's going to win. I think it's going to be hot weather in Miami. I think they're going to have that advantage that they have at their stadium. I think the Heat's going to get to Jacksonville, and like you said, Miami always starts off hot in the early months of the year. I'm not going to pick Etienne or Hill just for conversation's sake. I'm going to go Devon Achane.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm butchering his name, but you know who I'm talking about.
Yep.
I think he's going to score a touchdown. I think he's stupidly fast too, and I think he's going to break for like a 45-yard tud down the side. And he's my pick for any time.
I like that. All right, Broncos and Seahawks. It's in Seattle. I have a bit of an upset here. Give me the Broncos to win. I think Bo Nix is actually going to have a good game. I think he's going to impress people this year. Anytime touchdown scores for me, I don't know much. Like, I follow the Broncos because they're in my division. Don't know who I'd choose from them. If I had to choose, probably Cortland Sutton. But who I could confidently say I can see scoring a touchdown in that game because he scores quite a bit, Kenneth Walker Jr.
I think so too. I'm glad you said him. I think he's an underrated back in this league. I think Seattle's winning that game, but I think I agree that it's going to be a closer game than people think. I do think Denver has potential to steal a couple wins here and there, and Seattle's a team that could get a win stolen from them. Seattle's defense is just under Mike McDonald should be performing at a different level than it has been previously. They have good defensive players, so I'm just curious to see how their defense is going to work now. Anytime touchdown, Kenneth Walker, I agree. I like Kenneth Walker a lot.
I like that too. All right, then another 4:05 game our time. Obviously, time zones are different for everybody. Raiders and Chargers. It's in Los Angeles. Give me the Raiders. Antonio Pierce is going to have those guys fired up. I think they win. Anytime TD score, Devontae Adams.
I agree. I think the Chargers under Greg Roman's offense is going to be exposed. I think Justin Herbert and Greg Roman are not compatible. I think Justin Herbert is a gunslinger and Greg Roman is like play it close to the chest, give the ball to the running back, run it down their throats kind of offense, and I don't think that they're going to work well together. I will agree that the Raiders are going to win this game. I think my anytime touchdown, I'm going to stick with Devontae Adams too. I think Devontae Adams, similar to what you said earlier, is going to have that year where it's like, I'm still here. Yep. I'm still the guy kind of thing. I think game one, he may even go for 2.
Yep. Next one, this should be a pretty damn good game. Another 4:25 game our time. Cowboys-Browns. I got the boys winning. The Browns are going to be a good team, but give me the boys to win. It is in Cleveland. I'm going to go off the board here because I was a tight end in high school. Give me the tight ends to score a touchdown. David Njoku from the Browns is my anytime, and Jake Ferguson from the boys is my anytime.
I like it. I will say the Cowboys win if CeeDee Lamb gets his contract figured out. If not, there's going to be like a gray cloud over the team kind of thing. And then I'll switch to Cleveland. But for conversation's sake, he signed the contract. I will also go with Dallas winning the game. My anytime touchdown scorer is going to be Rico Dowd. Dowd,
yeah. I think he's going to have a good year.
I think he's going to have a very good year. I think he's a perfect complementary piece to Ezekiel Elliott. I think he's going to get a touchdown in week 1 just to kind of show people like, hey, it's me and Ezekiel Elliott kind of thing. Maybe even him and like Ezekiel Elliott kind of behind him. But we'll see. But he's my pick for a touchdown week 1.
Works for me. Next we got in the 4 o'clock slate still. Commanders and Buccaneers. I got the Buccaneers winning this. Still think Jaden Daniels and the Commanders will have a good game, actually. Anytime touchdown scores, I mean, it's hard to bet against Mike Evans to probably get a touchdown.
I agree. I think the Bucs are going to win that. My anytime touchdown, though, is going to be Jaden Daniels. I
I
think
could agree with that.
Daniels is going to kind of have a realization that, like, oh, shit, the NFL is hard. Like, obviously, like, easier, like, that's easy to say. But I think it's going to really hit him, and he's going to have to scramble a bit more than he's used to. And on one of those scrambles, he's just going to find open space and take it in. I think Jaden Daniels is scoring a touchdown, and then slowly but surely start to figure out the passing game as well. But for the first little bit there, he's going to use a lot of his legs.
I like that. The 8:20 game on Sunday. This should be a pretty damn good one. The Rams versus the Lions. Give me the Lions to win. As for touchdown scores in this game, there could be quite a bit. From the Lions, I could confidently say if Jahmyr Gibbs is back, which it's leaning towards that way, give me Jahmyr Gibbs to score. But at the same time, I like David Montgomery. So if I were to do an anytime parlay, TD same game parlay for this, I'd probably do both backs from the Lions to score. I've done that before last year quite a bit, and it always paid. From the Rams, there's a few scores here too. If Puka Nakua's back, he could score. Cooper Kupp could score, but also you can count on Kyron Williams to score as well.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the Lions are going to win. I think there's a lot of question marks about the Rams wide receivers and injuries and how they're going to perform. But Matthew Stafford is a fantastic quarterback. It doesn't matter. He will put that ball on whatever receiver he has. I think Detroit's winning. My anytime touchdown for that is I'm going to stay away from the running backs. I'm going to go with Sam Laporta. He's going to be my anytime touchdown scorer for that game.
Yep.
I think that is going to be like a 10-yard safety blanket kind of. Jared Goff's getting a little bit of pressure, throw to my big guy, and then Sam Laporta is just going to catch it right there in the corner of the end zone.
I like that. And then the Monday Nighter, Jets versus 49ers, Aaron Rodgers' return after a year. Still doesn't mean anything. Give me the 49ers to win that game. I don't think it'll be close, although the Jets have a great defense. I think there's some kinks that the Jets have to figure out. They will figure it out. I still don't know if they're going to make the playoffs. If CMC is back, you can count on him to score, but honestly, give me Debo to score a touchdown for the 49ers. And for the Jets, give me Garrett Wilson.
That was my pick for anytime touchdowns, Garrett Wilson. I also like San Fran winning, but I think the connection with Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers is going to be shown on full display in that game. I think the two of them are going to work very well together. I can see Garrett Wilson going for 100 yards that game, a touchdown, and like 7-8 receptions. I think he's going to have a great first week with Aaron Rodgers. But I just think San Francisco's too deep. I think that Aaron Rodgers is kind of in for not a rude awakening with how good San Francisco's defense is, but that's a tough game to come back to from an injury.
Yep.
And San Francisco, they're no jokes, man. They're not going to take anything sweet. They don't care about that your name's Aaron Rodgers. They're coming at you.
Yep.
And if that line doesn't hold up, Aaron Rodgers is just going to get pissed off, and then it's just going to be a downward spiral from there. Yep. But before all that happens, I do think Garrett Wilson is going to get a touchdown.
And so we forgot to talk about it earlier. Who do we want to see score live at the game we're going to touchdown-wise? If you and I were to create a parlay to win some money live, who are we thinking? For me, I'll let you choose the Ravens player, and I'll choose the Chiefs player to score a touchdown.
Okay.
So for me, I love him. Give me Pop to score a touchdown, Isaiah Pacheco. And who would we parlay that with?
Mark Andrews.
I like that too.
All
right. And then we do this every year, and so Justin and I have been talking about this. Every Sunday we tend to cook up 2 or 3 anytime TD parlays. They tend to do quite well, so what we're thinking of doing for all you guys to help out a bit is record a quick 10 to 15 minute video on Saturdays and upload that so you guys can tell our picks if you want to. Once again, we don't condone gambling. We just enjoy to do it. If you win, great. If you don't, sorry. Sometimes our picks aren't the best, but they do pan out to be pretty good. So if we were to choose our 1 o'clock anytime TDs, three TD score parlay here before we end off this video, let's do it like we always do. This time I'll let you make the first pick. I'll do the second one, and then you do the third.
Okay, let me just pull up the 1 o'clock slate here.
Yep. I looked at 365. None of the live odds are live yet, so we can't give the people what the plus would be. So we'll have to figure that out eventually. But I'll let you start it off.
What we can do is, because there's not normally a Friday game, we can do our game. So we said Money Mark and Pachech. We got those two for anytime touchdown parlayed. Hopefully it hits. The odds should be good. Anyways, we'll go Green Bay Eagles. We'll go 2 people from that too. Who are you rocking with?
Saquon.
Saquon. I'm gonna go with. I'll go with Josh Jacobs. We'll stick with the running backs in that one.
All right, and then you start off the 1 o'clock slot.
All right, my 1 o'clock slot for anytime touchdown is going to be. Oh, give me Alvin Kamara
From the Saints. Okay.
Give me Alvin.
All right, so 1 o'clock slate. Honestly, who we got here? Bears, Titans, Colts, Texans, Cardinals, Bills. I'm going to do from the Texans and Colts game. Give me. I liked your pick, Anthony Richardson.
Okay, so we got a little 2 parlay there. I'll add 1 more to make it 3. And this one's going to be a wide receiver. I think he's going to get paid before the season starts, and I think he's going to show, like, good, you guys spent your money well. Give me Jamar Chase of the Cincinnati Bengals. So for that parlay, just to clarify, we have Jamar Chase, Alvin Kamara, and Anthony Richardson.
Yep.
3-piece, 1 o'clock slate. Make some money.
And then the last one is the 4 o'clock slate. So I'll do 2 picks here, and then you can do 1. Okay. And then we will end this off. So we got the Raiders, Chargers, Broncos, Seahawks, Cowboys, Browns, and Commanders, Bucks. I am going to choose from, I said it earlier, so I'm going to keep it, Broncos and Seahawks. Give me Kenneth Walker.
Kenneth Walker's a great pick. I do like him a lot. I will go. We'll go Washington, Tampa Bay. Give me Mike Evans.
Okay. And then I will go Raiders and Chargers. Let's do someone from the Raiders here. Yeah, you know what? Give him his flowers. Devontae Adams as part of that parlay.
Okay, so who do we have?
We would have Kenneth Walker, Devontae Adams, and then Mike Evans.
That sounds good to me.
So, as always, like, comment, subscribe. If you want to see us talk about something, add that in the comments. We'd happily bring it up. Make your picks. If you like to gamble, tell us who you're thinking. Tell us if you like our picks. If they're whack, let us know why they're whack. And we will be back in a week. The next video is going to be a little bit of a different one. We're going to upload some clips and such. Be aware, we're still new to this, so the editing might not be the best, but we're going to upload some clips from our trip to KC, and I think more of that is going to be just talking about the trip, and then we'll obviously do maybe a recap or something of the week, and then upload the picks for next week. So thanks for tuning in, and we are out of here.
Take care.